Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hope. My name is Tammy Lynn Connors. This is my YouTube channel and podcast, helping other people evolve. Today, I have Chris with me. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Excellent, Tammy. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear your story. Chris's wife reached out to me actually, and that's how I met Chris. I always like to tell people how I meet people, and I always say it's God. Like God always puts the right people in the path, and to hear stories of hope, which is amazing. So you said you're in Utah?
I am. Yep.
Yeah. How's
So,
how's? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, no, go ahead, please.
I was just going to ask, how's the weather there?
It's actually, I mean, this winter has been incredibly warm for us, to be honest. Like usually we're in the 30s or 40s, and right now we're sitting in the mid 50s, so I mean, like, beautiful. It looks cloudy right now, and there's going to be some rain, but we can't even believe how warm it's been
Nice.
unseasonably. So,
Nice. Well, it hasn't been that way in Michigan, I can tell you that.
and a lot of the back east
Yeah.
area is just getting, I mean, that's the thing that's funny. Like, I look back east and I go like, oh, you guys are getting trashed with storms,
Right.
and it's not making it out here, that's for
Right.
sure. Yeah.
Right. Well, good. Well, so those of you that are new to Hope or have tuned in before, you know what my mission and vision is. But what I like to share is that God put on my heart back in 2020, actually, to start this podcast. And it was mostly to let people know that they don't struggle alone. You know, we all go through struggles in life. And you think that your struggle is the only struggle there is, but you can hear somebody else's story and know that through our struggles we can get to a strength. Now, my strength is in God, and I believe that Chris's is too. And so we like to share that. We'll share that on here. But you know, it's whatever you believe in, whatever your faith is, but just something to help you know that you can get through these struggles. And maybe you'll hear the story today from Chris, or you'll hear somebody else's story, and just know that you can get out of bed that day or get up off the couch. You can open the door and just take a deep breath and know that it's going to be okay. So, Chris, I'm excited to hear your story. I don't really know a lot. I know you're a runner and you ran a lot of miles. I saw that, but
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear your story and you know what got you to where you're at now and you know why you're sharing hope with others.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm excited to share. I mean, there is a way longer and bigger story, but whatever piece we share will hopefully, like you said, give somebody hope and just
Mhm.
give somebody go like, man, Chris is doing something crazy, but if I want to do my own crazy to whatever level that is, I can do that because I see Chris as just a regular guy. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So I guess let's start. When did you? So you run? You're a runner, right?
Yeah, so I've run for over 1,500 days now. And that really stemmed from when so I hated running and I still don't love it, I'll be honest.
Okay.
But what happened was I met this young lady and she was running these things called marathons. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, she said, "Do you want to run?" I said, how far is that?" She's like, 26.2 miles. And I said, no, I don't want to run that actually, ever. Never will I ever want to run a marathon. So you can just take me off the list of invite people. I'm off that list. I'm not going to do it. And we were dating at that time. And then we got married and she was going to run her last marathon. And so her friends dropped out about a month away from the start date because they hadn't trained enough. And
Okay.
that day I finally wanted to be a good teammate and I wanted to support her because she came to me and was like, "Hey, I may drop out too." And I said, "Absolutely not. I'm going to run it with you. I just want to I want to do it with no training. I just want to buy new shoes, walk in for the next month, break them in, and then I want to go run it with you." And she's like, "You will?" I was like, "Absolutely." And I want to backtrack we were married at this point, but even for our honeymoon, we did something called the trifecta, which is these three Spartan races in a calendar year of all three lengths. And so
Mhm.
we trained a lot together and we did that. And so there was a little bit of running, but it two of the ones we did were up ski mountains.
Mhm.
So they were quite vertical. So it was more like hiking,
Right.
and then a little bit of running, and then a lot of obstacles. And then
Mhm.
even the one we did one in like the shortest one, we went to San Francisco. So we had three different honeymoons, right? So each of the trifectas, we went to a different place, did a different type of honeymoon there. And we went to San Francisco in a stadium. So there was a little bit of running, but it was very little minimum. And so, like that really helped us grow together.
Okay.
And like I said, then that leaps forward to that first marathon. And that day when we went and ran it and I finished, I just realized like, man, my body was broken down. I had no idea how to pace, no idea how to like what to eat, not to eat, how to, keep myself hydrated, any of those things. But we
Right.
but we finished. And I got to see a little bit more of how God can work in you when you
Mm-hmm.
go do something that's so crazy and so hard. And another piece of it was just, man, when I finished, I remember recording a video going like, I could die today, and I would feel like I feel proud of myself. I feel like, man, I gave it my all. And I think all of us in our life, to some level, want to find something that we can give it our all to.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really the catalyst of what started this bigger run thing. And, I'd love to tell you that we ran the marathon and I just became a natural regular runner. I didn't, we did a few other things after that. We did a 60,000 push-up pull-up challenge. We did a 50 miler after that during COVID, of course, because everything was shut down. So my wife just traveled around I was still a crappy runner, so like she had to help me every few miles, like I need hydration, I need to stretch. And she was really she's just an incredible partner, and so that's when we did the 50, and then we can get more into now or later the bigger run that we're doing. But that's kind of the origin of the running story.
Yeah, and so I can relate so much because when you talked about the Spartan, like I told you, I did the mini one, the 5K one, I guess it
Yeah.
was.
Uh-huh.
And I did it in Litchfield, Arizona, I think it was, or
Okay.
Litchfield, right by Vegas. And
Okay.
I really had no idea what I was doing. But when you talked about finishing, when I jumped over that fire pit at the end, the same thing, like, wow, I just did this. And I hadn't really trained at all either. I had in my head that Spartan races were private and you didn't know what you were going to do until you got there
Oh.
till a month before, and I was like, oh, now I see what I'm doing. So but at the end of the day it was like I had all these things that was stopping me, like I had ribs out of place. My mom was in
Mm.
ICU on a ventilator the day that I ran the Spartan race back in Toledo, and I was
Wow.
in Vegas, like, and my aunt and uncle were like, don't come home, just do what you have to do, you can't do anything right now. And so, and she lived through that. But it was like everything was in my way. And I remember my friend Justin was helping me, and he said to me, he said, listen to the song Andy Mineo, You Cannot Stop Me. And that
Okay.
was in my head. If you've ever heard that song, you should hear
I
it. It's
okay.
Andy Mineo, and it's a Christian song, but it's "You Can't Stop Me," telling the devil like, no matter what, you can't stop me. And it
Yeah.
got me through that, and it gets me through some of my workouts today. But at
That's
the end, jumping that fire pit and getting that badge was just like, wow, I just did something that I didn't think I could have ever done. So,
yeah. I
yeah.
love that. I think we should all find something, I'd almost just like to say yearly that we should find something where we go like, oh man, I didn't know I could do that. And I,
Hmm.
I I love like there's like a Buddhist principle or a Buddhist saying of like whatever's in your way is the way.
Right.
And
Ooh.
so, so when we look at it, and there's one of my favorite quotes is the magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding.
Right.
And so whenever we're sitting at home thinking like there's something in our way, it's meant for us. It's not
Mhm.
meant to stop us. It's meant to shine light on like how much potential we really have.
I
And so
like.
I think when we step out and we choose to explore that potential,
Mhm.
there is a power that like gets unleashed inside us that we've never seen before. And I think
Right.
that's what you got from the Spartan race, it sounds like, and that's what I got from that first marathon with no training.
Yes, yes. I have to
So
make a correction. My
yeah.
friend's name was Jason, not Justin, that told
Okay.
me about the
Phew.
song. Sometimes that,
Justin's.
that age gets you sometimes, but it's okay.
At least it wasn't like, hey, his name was Tom, and it was, and it was very close. They both started with J's.
Right. I
Yeah.
just said that just in case he's listening.
Yeah, I'm sure you appreciate
Like,
that.
hey, Jason, I'm sorry. I know it was you. But anyway, so you did that, and then your wife and you did some other things, and now you just did you say that you ran for 1,500 days straight?
Yeah, so we're a little so this whole thing started on January 8th of 2022 we woke up.
Okay.
And I looked back at my trackers. And even after the 50, I'd never run more than 4 consecutive days in a row.
Okay.
And like the looking back to the 2 previous months before January, like I ran one time. I kept telling myself, I'll go running, I'll go running, I'll go running. And I did it so well I ran one time in 2 months. Um and so we entered January and I'm like, man, you know, we did the marathon with no training. We did the 60,000 push-ups, pull-ups. We did the 50 miler. I want to do something bigger. I
Mm,
want to show people what a 5-year plan looks like.
mm,
What putting this big vision out so far and then making it so small to start, like how that can really be done. And I want to give kind of people a blueprint of what like life can look like, no matter what your 1500 days of running is. It doesn't have to be running. So whatever that is. But imagine if you sat home today, and I want people that are listening to this, like just to close your eyes and put yourself in my shoes and go, man, if you look back 1500 days from now and you did that one thing you're thinking of right now that pops in your head, and you were consistent at it for 1500 days, like how much life could look different? How much
Mm,
better? How much more trust and belief you would have in yourself? And if you believe in God, how much more trust and belief you'd have in Him? Because the
mm,
journey is refining and challenging and all those things.
mm.
So January, we wake up, January 8th, we go like, hey, let's start running. Let's just see if I can run a week, right? Because I'd only run 4 days. Let's see if we can run a week. And I said, if I start with a mile, I know that I can run a mile between 7 and 15 minutes if I'm walking it. So
Mhm.
I knew that if I was trying to go to bed that night and I didn't get my mile in, I would laugh at myself because 10 to 15 minutes seems pretty reasonable for most people to get something done in a day, you know? So I
Right.
started really small. And so we made that plan January 8th, January 9th, we started the mile. We didn't waste any time. And if anybody's like writing notes or tracking, set something really big, make it really small, and then get started. Like get started as quickly as possible because the longer you wait, the more your brain and the more the adversary is going to come in and try to tell you like why you shouldn't do it. Or, oh man, that was a great plan, but let's start next week. Oh, it's Tuesday. Let's start on Monday, things like that. And
Yeah.
those are things that slow us down. And so we ran a week. And then we're like, okay, like we're doing this thing. Okay. Now let's see if we can do a mile a day for 90 days. And so then we did a mile, then 2 miles, then 3 miles, then 4 miles. And now it's been a little over 4 years. So 1500 days, a little over 4 years. And we're currently running 18 miles.
Wow.
And one thing I
Hey,
wrote, yeah, 18 miles a day. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how long
Yeah.
does it take you on the average to do that?
Around 3 hours.
Okay. Yeah.
So I look at it, I go, it's a really good part-time job.
Right.
That's what I'm working at. When me and my wife were looking at last year and we went like, okay, so over 1,000 hours I ran. So
Hmm.
multiply that times a part-time job. We could have had some more money, but we chose
Right.
running.
Right. Right.
Uh, but it's been an incredible journey. And I'm happy to share any more details, but that's really how the beginning looked, you know, and and I just had to prove to myself that I could trust myself that
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, I'll get up every day and I'll run. And it started with a week, then two, then 2 months, then a year, then 4 years. And so
Yeah.
it's really been an incredible journey of a lot of ups and downs. And I
I'm
know there's,
sure.
yeah, yeah, go ahead, please.
I'm sure because you probably have days. So I wanted to track back a little bit when you
Yeah,
talked about not putting things off
yeah,
that and letting that adversary get in your head and then
uh-huh,
saying things to yourself like, why would anybody read your book, Tammy?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's exactly. I've been writing my book for 4 years, mind you.
Okay,
So
okay.
it
So
isn't
we've
like
been doing, see, you've been doing it the same length as me. We're
right
on the
about
same
it's
same
really
journey.
about the yeah.
Yeah,
And so and that's the thing, it's like, oh, but and lately I've been like, no, people need to hear your story. You better finish your book because God only knows how long I'm going to be here,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That point too. And so it just reminded me when you said that because I really diligently wrote like 3 chapters last night. So I'm like, okay, you've got to get this book done. But it's that coming into your own head. Like the more you wait, the procrastination. I'll wait till Monday. Monday gets here, and you're like, oh, why would I even do this now? And all of that. And so
absolutely.
I'm glad that you shared that with us because I think that means a lot because
Thank
people
you.
don't think about it until it's too late, and then you're procrastinated away. Now you're like,
Yeah,
well, why even do it now? Right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now back to your story.
Okay, yeah, and I just want to say this is if we're looking at just biochemically, when you create an idea, your brain will drip dopamine into you to get you started, right? That's the thing. And most of us sit around and we create a plan and then we sit around for 2 weeks thinking on how we're going to execute the plan. And your dopamine drip is about a 2 week length. And then we sit there and we go like, oh, okay, I didn't get started. That wasn't a good plan. It was the plan that was the issue. I got to come up with a better plan. And so
Mm,
to me, if you guys again are taking notes on this, decide something and get started. You can always adjust. And as you listen to my story unfold, you'll see how many times we had to adjust, how
okay.
many times we've had to shift what we thought was going to be or the way it was going to be. And that's how we win, right? I love to say, you got to find ways to win.
Hmm.
And so that's the key through some of this. Yeah. So, year one goes by, year two goes by. And when we start, we're thinking like we're going to run across America. And so my wife quickly Google searches that, and it's 200 to 500 people have run across America. It's 3,300 miles. And we go like, that's not far enough. Too many people have done that. It's not unique enough, and it's not far enough. And so we're
Okay.
like, do we run across and then back? And then we're like, do we run up from the upper West Coast down to the bottom of Texas, back up to the upper East Coast? And that's like 5,200 miles. And about 2.5 years in, my wife says, I get home from a run late at night, and she's sitting on the couch. She goes, "Hey," I'm like, "What's up?" She's like, "I looked up this idea." And I'm like, "Cool. What is it?" She's like, "Why don't we run the perimeter of America?"
Hmm.
And I was like, "That sounds really cool. How far is that?" She's like, "It's just short of 12,000 miles. It'll put us at a, a certain distance for a certain amount of days." And I was like, "How many people have done it?" She's like, "There's been a couple people that have run around the perimeter, but nobody's done consecutive days, and nobody's done it the way we're going to do it." I'm like, bingo, that's it. That's it. Let's go with that idea. And so about 2.5 years in, we, from running without having a clear necessary idea of how we're going to do it, we just knew we were going to do it. But
Mm-hmm.
that day really started to unfold, and we started to go like, okay. And then we discussed, I was like, I want to run 50 miles a day. And one thing we've always talked about since beginning this is we're not just doing it for the run. We're doing it to show people with families that you can do it with your kids, and to do it with your kids, not to stop doing it because you have kids.
Okay.
And we wanted to show people lifestyle, like, hey, this isn't just about the run. This is about understanding, like, through God and with God, like what you can accomplish, and like through his strength what can be done. It's also to show people, hey, I have a family, I have two little ones, a wife, and we're going together as a family unit, and we want to show them like what fun we can have, and how joyful this will be, and how challenging it'll be, but we'll get through all the falling together.
Hmm.
And so she said, "Hey, I get you want to do a 50 miles a day, but I think we should do a 50K." And if you're in America, you probably don't know what that distance is, but it's 31.1 miles.
Okay.
So that is the shortest distance ultra marathon that you can run.
Okay.
So right now what we have set up, and this is what we will do, is we'll do a 50K, so 31.1 miles a day, 50K a day for 365 days straight. So we'll
Wow.
start January 1st of 2027 in Arizona, because me and my wife are both from Arizona.
Okay.
And then we will travel down through Texas, bottom of Florida, back up the East Coast, across the top, back down the South, and we will come back into Arizona December 31st of 2027. So
Wow.
365 days, the whole calendar year, Mother's Day, Christmas, my kids' birthdays, we will be running a 50K for that year. And so that's really the vision and what we've created.
Wow. So how many kids do you have?
I have two. And the crazy part is I have two. One's 4 and one's 1. If you're tracking dates, I started running a few months before, while my wife was pregnant, a few months before my little girl was born. And
Okay.
I've been running for both kids' births. And we can go into those stories if you want. But really they've never woke up a day and like not seen me run.
Right.
And that's very meaningful to me, because we have pictures of like my little girl like crawling over and helping me tie my shoes, and now
Mm,
my little boy, walks over and like helps me tie, and it's this fun thing that we do together, and I love that piece of it.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you'll take your kids with you when you do
Oh,
this run?
yeah, so I like to say one man, one RV, one family, right? So the two little ones, my wife will all be there. Yeah, somebody asked me, I don't know, like 6 months ago, like, what do you do with your like wife and kids? I said, oh man, I'm just gonna divorce them and I'm gonna adopt my kids. I said, I'm taking them with me. What do you mean?
Right.
I would
Right.
never want to do this without them. And I
Right.
and I'll be honest, I wouldn't do it without them. So
Right. So
because
now
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry,
No, no,
Chris.
no, no. I just want to say, like, that's part of this thing is I want to do it with the whole family, and I
Hmm.
want to show people that have families, like, do it with your family. Make this one of my big beliefs in life is we're here once, and we're here to create a legendary story.
Mm,
So
mm,
make it legendary. And
yes.
I believe this will be a great chapter in a book later in life of
Hmm.
our whole life story.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So now your wife's not running it with you then. You'll run by yourself?
Yeah, so
Okay.
she has a more difficult job, but she will be coordinating everything, helping
Yes.
with food, helping take care of the kids. She will have way more to do than I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But she was a runner in the beginning when we met, and
Right.
I tell her if she doesn't like this, it's her fault because she made me this way,
Right.
But no, she won't be running. It'll just be me.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was figuring because when you said you were running, and I thought, well, how is him and his wife going to run and get to the next spot and have a
Yeah,
vehicle or something there? So that makes complete sense then. That's
yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah.
so
Thanks,
exciting. So
thanks.
I know my listeners are going to ask this question. What is it that you and your wife do for a living that you can do all this running?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think that's a serious question for most of us, right?
Uh-huh.
When we were dating, we started with the conversation of, "Hey, I want to travel around the United States in an
Hmm.
RV and see what the states are, see different seasons, pick out states that we really like, and go live in them for a couple seasons." Because when you go somewhere on vacation, it's easy to go like, "I love this place."
Sure.
But you don't know what it's like when you actually live there. And so
Hmm.
we really like fostered and built a relate like not that was the only thing, but we had a big like love with each other for that of like when we get married, we will travel around America. And and luckily by that time like I'd gotten sober and I was helping people with a bit. Oh yeah, so I've been sober for this is 9 years. This upcoming year that we're living in right now will be 10 years.
Okay.
And we can jump into more of that if you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when we so I was sober, I met her and she had a lot of grace in her heart for all my mistakes that I made before her, and
Hmm.
she loved me for who I was. And so when we started this, I was helping a guy run some live events and really uh, being part of his A team and helping coach these bigger groups inside the groups. And so that really gave me this passion to serve others.
Hmm.
And like I originally went to his events to heal me and to get me sober and help me. But then when I came back and I could help be part of the leadership and be part of like those smaller groups in the group, it made me see other people's life change and transform. And I went like, oh man, like I'm addicted to this. This is what I want to do. And
Hmm.
so this is a long answer to your short question of what do we do? And so I coach men that want to take their idea to purpose without risk and without all the financial risk that they put their family in, without quitting their job and giving up everything that they know that they feel stable and secure in. And we help them take that idea to a purpose-driven business. And so that's how we are going to do this is we're going to coach and then we'll, get sponsors and
That's awesome.
that's how we're doing
That's
it. Yeah.
awesome. That is so cool. I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome. So there's two questions that I want to ask. What I wanted to say is you said you don't like running,
Yeah,
and I'm sure you know who David Goggins is,
I do. Yeah.
and he doesn't like running either.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so funny. I don't like running either, and I don't run often, but I'll do like just randomly a 5K. I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go run, 3.1 miles. And
Yeah.
I'm one of those. I run and then I walk, and then I run and I walk. And I just heard that there was a man. He just passed away. He was 82, but that was his theory. Is he ran and walked, ran and walked. I was
Mm,
like, oh, I'm not crazy then. I'm not
no.
the only one that does that. But when you said that about you don't like to run, I thought of David Goggins right away. I'm like, he doesn't like to run either.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
absolutely.
puts his shoes there. He has all his running stuff there, and he knows when he gets out of bed that that's what he does.
For
And
sure.
I think a lot of that helps us with our mindset. This morning I got up and worked out. I usually work out after work, but we were doing this today, so I got up at 4:45 this morning to get to
Good
the
for
gym at
you.
5:30. I don't like doing it, but
But
at the end of it all, I've never walked out of the gym and been like mad at myself, like, oh, I can't believe I went and worked out, you
yeah.
know. And I think all of that is, even if it is something that you don't really like to do, but it is helping you, it's all in in your mind. David Goggins says it the best, I think. Like you either control your mind or let your mind control you.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's something that I've lived by for a long time since I've listened to his book and stuff. But so that was pretty powerful when you said that, and I lost track of my other thing I was going to talk about. Maybe about your sobriety. That would be a great thing to talk about.
Yeah. So
Um,
I'll just comment on the David Goggins things. I think, I've had some people, I have a friend that says like, "You're like David Goggins of Utah." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And then I heard that I was on a podcast and this guy's like, "I feel like you're like David Goggins, but the like light version of it where you're not about like you gotta do it and you gotta yell at yourself and treat each other like you're more like grace and like love and like." And I said, "Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I am about doing incredibly hard things.
mhm,
About doing incredibly like just connected to other people things. But to me, when I look at it, and I think David Goggins the same way, is you extract the value from it,
mhm,
right? And somebody asked me the other, or like a year or so ago, was like, what happens if you don't finish the run? I said, man, you guys are missing the point. The point isn't to finish the run, right? Like I'm not waiting till day 365 to go like, yes, we did it. Like the person you become through the journey, the person that you become from the year of shin splint, the person I became from, my wife having these insane labors and births, and then like the person you become from the hernias and the blown out shoulders and the blisters on the side of your feet where you run in slides for over a month and over 500 miles just in slides because you said you'd get it done. When
Mm,
you become that person and you see that person become you in the mirror, that is a superpower.
mm,
And
yeah.
I want to be honest, like I've realized that through my weakness, God shines so much. Through
Mhm,
all those things, that's what I've realized is I'm not that strong. I'm not that great. So if anybody's listening to this, I just want to be honest. But with God, He can make you great.
mm,
And so and that even ties to sobriety, like
mhm,
I didn't know God back then. I was
mhm,
just struggling and didn't know, and luckily I met some good people. So if you're taking again notes, find some good people. Because
mhm,
I found these people that believed in me more than I believed in myself.
mhm.
And when I was younger, like most of us, we have these dreams and this vision for life. And then
Right.
life kind of goes long and it feels like it
Mm,
kicks us in the teeth sometimes and it's pushing us down. And we suppress that vision.
mhm,
But when I met these good people, they breathed life into that vision. They breathed life into me again. And they gave me that light of hope,
mhm,
hence your podcast name,
mhm,
that light of hope that like, man, there's still that better opportunity.
mhm,
And that was really what like I started listening to personal development, audios, books, started understanding how like to control my mind, how
mhm,
to use it to get me to do effective things in life instead of things that are destroying me
mhm,
and it took a long time, but I finally got sober, and part of it was going to that guy's events that I talked about. He really helped transform my mind as well and renew my mind, as it says in scriptures,
mhm.
and those things were the big catalyst because I would never be doing any of these things. I mean, I'd be at home drinking right now. Let's be honest, I
Right.
wouldn't be on this
Well,
podcast.
or not even be here anymore.
Yeah, that I
Right?
mean that was the biggest the pain when I got sober. The pain was either, man, if this is life, I don't want to be here much longer. Like if it's
Mhm,
just getting drunk and getting high every day, like I don't want to be here. That's just too like
mhm,
if this is life, I don't want to be a part of it. Or figure it out.
mhm.
And luckily, instead of me taking myself out and going home, I chose to figure it out.
Yes. And
And
we're
so
so
that's
glad
just
you did.
been a 9 year unfolding of what that looks like,
Um,
and what it can be.
mhm.
Yeah.
So I know what I wanted to ask you. Oh, now I forgot again. Gosh darn it, Tammy. Oh, well, you're going to these coaching these men, and you said you
Yeah.
went there to start to help you, right? And then you see how much it's helping them. But through that, just curious, do you still feel like it still helps you?
Oh, every day. I mean, I'll be honest, when I chose coaching, because that's what I do. I coach people. So I coach
Uh-huh.
men. And so I chose coaching first and foremost because I'm a person that's gonna not ever ask you to do anything that I haven't done.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna test it. If it works great for me, I'm gonna let you know. If it doesn't work great for me, I'm gonna let you know why and let you know it may still work for you, but here's why it didn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew when I chose coaching that that was gonna mean that I was gonna have to consistently level up. And I'm a
Mm-hmm.
person that wants to go to bed better than how they woke up.
Mm-hmm.
And so because that's instilled in me and that's part of my identity and that's a driver for me, coaching is one of the best things because I know that each time I coach better men, that means I have to level up. And
Mm-hmm.
so certainly it is a win-win-win.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So I just started since I moved to Texas. This is my second go around, but I'm doing prison ministry. And when I first went, the first go around, I was like, yeah, I'm going to help all these. I do men's prison ministry, and I'm like, I'm going to help these guys. By the 14 weeks when it was over, I was like, you guys have no idea how much you just helped me. Like it
Yeah.
was a life changer for me. And now we just started a new group. We're on week 3 tomorrow, and it's just like just
Amazing.
watching them transform and then the whole thing, just me learning and growing and all of that too. It's just amazing. So, when I talk about I mean, honestly, we're all here to serve. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
We're all here to be good humans and good people and serve others. And when you see that service come back to help you, it's like, oh yeah, God, that's why you're having me do this.
Yep.
The gratitude, like we had a couple in today, and I'm not saying it to brag, but he's getting neck surgery and they're older. They're probably 80 and he's getting neck surgery Wednesday. I thought, you know what, I'm
Whoa.
just going to buy their meal today. I'm not going to tell them, but I'm just going to buy their meal. And the gratitude that I get from doing that, and it's not,
Mm.
people think you got to go do these great big things. You got to spend all this money. It's not. You can share your smile. You can open the door. You can tell someone they look nice or buy somebody's meal behind you in line. And the difference that it can make in this world is incredible.
Yeah, I just want to comment on this because I love that you said we think it's got to be this big thing.
Hmm.
And for myself in the past, from like helping others, sometimes I go like, "Oh man, when I can donate $100. Oh man, when I can donate $1,000." But we forget like it's not that. It's the small text. It's the
Yes.
$10. Because
Hmm.
like, hey, buy somebody some tacos. It doesn't have to be
Hmm.
huge, but then they go like, man, I'm loved. Somebody sees me.
Yes.
And when we can see and feel love from somebody else, a complete stranger, that changes, it gives our heart a little bit of nourishment to open up more
Hmm.
and to start to look for opportunities for more of that to happen in our life and for us to be that person that helps that happen in somebody else's life.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
to me, I think even if you go back to the mile a day, the smaller you make it, the more consistent you can act on it. And
Hmm.
when I look back at my marathon, I go like, I couldn't do another marathon the next day. So it's really hard to do something big consistently, going back to like charity or helping people
Sure.
and serve people.
Sure.
But it's really easy to do something small consistently to get it to be a big thing. But we
Hmm.
have to start with the small, faithful, obedient steps. And so it's, I think it's one of those things that are, going back to control your mind. I think it's that voice inside our head that says like, you'll do it later. You'll do it
Hmm.
when you're more secure. You'll do
Hmm.
it when you feel like more certain about yourself. You'll do it when, you know what, when you're perfect, then you can finally serve somebody,
Yeah.
right? And the truth is, we're never going to get there. So start where you're at and make it as small as possible. And I mean this, like, I don't care if it's the dollar. I don't care if it's like, hey, I see a homeless person and I'm going to give them $1 and I'm just going to ask them, like, hey, what's your story?
Right.
I love,
Right.
like, I care about you. Like, what's really going on in your life? Because it's more than just $1.
Hmm.
And so to me, I love where you said like it start with the smaller things and don't
Yeah.
make it so big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true. And I love that you said that, even like with homeless people. I had a girl at work the other day. She just said, well, they're all drug addicts. And I'm like, that is not true.
That's
That
not
is
true.
not true at all.
Yeah.
You don't know their story, and that's it. And I challenged her. I said, maybe one day ask somebody that's on the corner, ask them their
Yeah.
story. You don't
Yeah.
know. And so it's just, and it is those little things like just the kindness, like I said, you don't, it doesn't, even if you don't have a dollar, just being kind can make and
Yeah.
show them that they're loved. That's what our prison ministry is. It's we just go in there and show them God's love, that they're not forgotten, that they're loved,
Yeah.
and yeah, and God is forgiveness and all of that. But it's just showing people that hey, I see you, I see you. And some people you can see them struggling and like I have really good vibes with that and I can point that out and see that. So I'll go like
Mm-mm.
really like minister to the person. But it's just being kind to people. And I love that you do that coaching. I think that's great. That's something that I'm looking
Thanks.
into doing that I keep stopping myself again. So this
Yeah.
conversation is really helping me, just so you know, Chris.
Good. I'm happy to help. You're helping me,
Yeah.
so I'm glad we're here.
Yeah, for sure. So you're going to start in January. That's exciting. Have you got a lot of sponsors and things for that?
Zero sponsors, and this is going to go back to even, and I don't remember exactly what the comment is, but I remember the general idea of, man, most of us we get up and we start doing something new, and we
Hmm.
hope people see us or give us praise.
Hmm.
And if anybody is listening to this and they follow me on social media, though, I've done this where I've run 500 days, and I'm out finishing my 500th day, and I pan around with my like phone. There's nobody. Day
Hmm.
1,000, nobody. Day 1,200, nobody. Day 1,500, nobody. You got to be your best cheerleader
Hmm.
because people will support you, and people and you don't even realize that people are already supporting you and people are already seeing what you're doing in the darkness, and
Yes.
it doesn't have to be, you don't even have to get to the light yet. They just see what you're doing
Hmm.
and you don't realize that. But with that being said, like We just put up something about a GoFundMe because we're asking people if they're willing to contribute and they want to make this like part of their exceptional story and part of their experience in life, and they want to be like, man, remember when that crazy guy ran and we like were part of it and we donated $20? Like start
Right,
small. It doesn't have to be huge again, right?
right.
Um, but we have zero sponsors so far, and
You'll get them.
we will. Like we have like again, we're walking in faith, right?
Hmm.
We need RVs, we need sponsor for our shoes. I run in
Sure.
ultras all the time, and yet like it's okay that we haven't got those. We're not at the season of those yet,
Right,
but we
right.
will get those.
Hmm.
And the truth of the matter is, like, you still have to keep stepping forward because the
Hmm.
stepping forward is the movement that creates the momentum to bring people into your wheelhouse, to
Hmm.
connect to God. God can guide a moving man. But if I'm
Hmm.
sitting still waiting for God to move me, I'm going to
Ooh,
be sitting still waiting for God to move me
yeah, that's
5 years
so good.
later. And
Yeah.
so to me, I just remember God guides a moving man. And so I'm going to keep getting it movement and service, and I'm going to figure out how to serve people more through this run and
Hmm.
inspire them more through this run. And everything else will take care of itself, whatever that looks
Yeah.
like. And that doesn't mean there won't be a ton of struggles. And I want to, like somebody said, will you do a documentary? I said, we'll absolutely do a documentary. We'll have a weekly YouTube show
Hmm.
that people can check out, and they're like, "Oh man, it'll be so cool." And I said, "I want to show people like when I get upset with my kids, like I want them
Yeah.
to see me at the next second, like go get down on my knees and go like, I'm sorry, please forgive me, like Dad
Right,
screwed up here." I want them to
right.
see like all the amazement and success and all the failures because I here's what I don't love about social media is everybody shows you their vacations, their
Yeah.
cool cars, their highlight reels.
Hmm.
Nobody shows you when I got in a disagreement with my wife. I went late, like sat on the bed and cried, and then I went for a run because that
Hmm.
ain't sexy and it doesn't sizzle. But that's
Right.
reality. That's how you
Hmm.
get great, is you do
Hmm.
these things. And so to me, I want to show people the whole human experience because the whole human experience is what makes life beautiful, not the highlight reels.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. I talk about that a lot because a lot of people will compare their life to the highlight reels.
yeah,
You see that family on the beach and they're holding their kids up and everything, and everybody's so happy. And then a week later, they're divorced, and you're
yeah,
like, "Hey, you were just at the beach, so happy. What
yeah,
happened?" So people see those highlight reels all the time. I'm a big one too. I show real life. Like
yeah.
I just had an episode in Orlando where I left my keys at the airport, and it was a whole fiasco of a whole 5 days of I could have went on a trip to Italy on a cruise as to how much money it cost me to get
Mm,
everything back in order. But I talked about it, but I went through my faith
mm,
because even though I went through these trials, I have to put it in perspective because there's somebody else going through something hard too, right?
yeah,
And I'm able to have that faith to know that God's going to get me through it. He always has. He's never let me down. And I think that's a big thing with what you're saying too is yeah, you're going to get the sponsors. You have that faith of a mustard seed. It's all going to come together, right?
yep,
And you're going
yep,
to have people when you're running through Texas, like lined up on the streets going, here he
yep,
comes, right?
yep.
Like the
Absolutely.
monks just did when they walk to Washington, D.C. Like people love to see and be a part of that, right? They can be like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, that crazy guy that's running across the perimeter of the country.
Yeah.
We get to see him,
Yeah.
it's
Hey kids, let's go make this a day. Like let's grab
yes,
some lunch. We'll put it in the back of the car. We'll pull up.
yeah,
We'll wait for them. We'll cheer them on. We'll
yeah.
make signs. Like absolutely.
Yeah, and
I
I
love
could
that.
I could see that happening, and I think it's going to be so cool. So I'm going to be your cheerleader here too. So
Thanks. I
yeah,
appreciate
I'm
it.
super excited. I'm so glad that your wife reached out to me for you to be on this podcast because you definitely remind me of hope. You
Thanks.
definitely, we didn't go in deep into your your struggle with addiction, but 10 years sober, almost 10 years sober, you don't really have to go into the details of, what made you get sober, but what you said, like, if this is life, I don't want to live anymore. And that's unfortunately the way, addiction will get you to. And that's when you have to make the choice. I'm when I quit drinking, the day before well, 2 days before I quit, my blood alcohol was 0.399.
Oh
And
jeez.
yeah. And I weighed 85 pounds. My
Oh
liver was
jeez.
failing. I was pretty much on the verge of death. And my dad had passed away when he was 34 from alcoholism. He actually drowned in our bathtub. And when I was that sick, I got fired from my job, and I knew that if I didn't quit, my son was going to find me like that, and I couldn't
Mm,
get to my son. And that's when I really like, God, I need you. I don't know what else to do. And he completely has, for the last 22 years, never left my side, but he never left my side before that either. I just didn't know him that well, you
Yeah.
know. And I don't want to be preachy on here, but it is my podcast, so I can be a little bit. But honestly, I mean, that's what's gotten me through everything. You know, I've lost a child, I've lost a bonus child, and all the things. And through all of that journey, God's always been there, and He makes sure that we get through. You know, and yeah, He tests our faith sometimes. He really does. You know, like, do you really have that faith that you talk about? Are you
Yep.
really gonna, walk? You talk it a lot, but do you really walk it? And He does that to me like once
Yeah.
a year, and it's usually pretty big. And I'm like, I have faith, God. I know you'll get me through, and He always does. And then I will share it because people will call me after I had that Orlando experience. They're like, "How do you have so much faith?" And I'm
Mm.
like, "Because He's never left me. He's always here." And I think it's big to know that you have that faith, and what you're doing every day is faithful. It's faithfulness.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're listening. You're like you said, you're not sitting there not moving.
Yeah.
What was that saying again?
Yeah. God moves, or God, no, I can't say it. God directs a moving man, right?
Yes,
So like if
yes.
we're in movement, he can, it's like trying to steer a car somewhere without pushing on the gas. I mean, you can turn the wheels, but you're going nowhere.
Right,
And so that's what
right.
most of us do is we formulate these plans in our head and we sit there, but we have to move in order to get feedback, and feedback creates refinement or adjustments.
Yes.
And looking at our story even, we are far from like sitting over here driving Lambos, sitting in massive wealth, just like, oh, this is so easy, guys. Like I said to my wife, I feel like we've gone through so many financial struggles, with business, with running, just the amount of time that we could be using to do business, but we're running. We've been through so many health issues, like from hernias to shin splints. We've been through so many traumatic birthing experiences, and
Oh,
so many other layers of things that I can go through when we have another podcast time.
right.
Um, and I look at that, and my wife said to me a couple weeks ago, she said, I used to be, when we first started, it's like embarrassed, like I didn't want to like film our home because it wasn't, we live in like a smaller apartment with two bedrooms, uh now we've realized like we want to show the whole story. And I don't think we have gone through these things for no reason. I think we've gone through these
Mm,
things because now anybody that comes to me, any man that comes to me like, I want to create my purpose driven idea into a business. I want to go do this run, whatever it is. I can go
mhm,
like, oh, you don't want to do it because of the money? Okay, hey, I been there, done that, right? Here's what I found out. Like, man, your marriages, me and my wife had a time in our marriage during this run where we questioned if we would get divorced, right? So
mhm,
we've gone through all these different pieces.
mhm,
We didn't go through them for no reason. We went
mhm,
through them for a season to get something for them. They
mhm,
showed up in a season for a reason. And when we
mhm,
take that and we apply that, now anybody that comes up to us, we can go like, man, I get where you're at.
mhm.
Keep
Yeah,
going. Like, let me
yeah.
tell you what the other side of keep going looks like. Because
It's
it's
so
gonna
good.
like people again love the wins.
Mm-hmm.
I get very little from my wins. We celebrate them. But the
Mm-hmm.
truth is that the nourishment, the growth, the beauty that you see inside yourself is from all the other hard times. It's from the times where we had the blister that we had a drain on our foot that was on the side of our foot and blood was everywhere, from the hernia, like all that is just to show you and refine you. It's not meant to break you, it's meant to remake you. It's the
Yeah,
refiner's fire. And when
yeah.
we have that mindset around it, now we can go through anything
Mm,
because it's not just for me. It's for him, and it's
mm,
for all the people that are watching us. And
mm-hmm.
every time I've wanted to quit, I've made it all about me.
Mm,
And when I
mm,
realize it's way bigger than me,
mm.
it makes me go like, there's no way I can quit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like that moment when you're thinking about quitting that you get that message from somebody too, right?
Yep.
Like God's like, "Oh no, you're not." Like
Yeah.
I'll be like, not that I do that often, but sometimes you get like, "Oh man, this working out is just, ugh," and then I'll get that message from somebody on TikTok or something. They'll be like, "Yep, I worked out today because of you. Otherwise,
I,
I wouldn't have. Thank
I
you for
love that.
inspiring me." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, keep doing it." So it's almost you get to the point where you're like, "Well, I can't stop."
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
inspiring other people and I'm helping myself too, of course. But that's it. Like yeah, you hit it. I love your quotes. I love the things that you say. I can't wait.
Thanks.
We're gonna have to do another podcast for sure, Chris, because
Yeah.
within this year too, just how it's going and all of that, and we
We
can
can
get
definitely do
deeper
it.
into, like you said, with your wife's labors and things like that, going through those struggles because,
Yeah,
like we say, we all go through things, everybody does, but like you said, it helps us to grow. And I tell people when I ask them to share their story, and a lot of people will be like, and I'm like, well, Hope will be here forever, so that's fine, but remember who you can help with your story.
yep,
I say that God didn't give us these stories for us to keep them wrapped up. They're actually gifts that we have that we're able to share with others to help them to get through their struggles. So I'm super
absolutely.
excited to have talked to you today.
Thanks.
Yeah. Is there
All
any
right.
last things that you want to like shout out to anybody or anything?
Yeah, I guess I'll say this, one of my favorite quotes is from a guy named Les Brown. He's a great guy in personal development. If you haven't looked him up, he's quite older now, but check him out. He's the stuff he says is still so relevant. But he says like the greatest wealth and the greatest ideas are in the graveyard. They die
Mm-hmm.
with us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I just need a little hope, just realize like whatever's in you, breathe life into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's given to you because you're gonna shine that light in this world like no one else. You
Mm-hmm.
were created on purpose with a purpose for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're sitting at home feeling like, man, can I really do this? Nope, you can't. But together with others, you can. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's not a me thing. It's not a you thing. It's a we thing. And
Exactly.
when we do it together, we can realize that we can become an unstoppable force for good. And that only starts by one step in faith.
Mm.
So don't wait till tomorrow. Put on your shoes, go through the door, because that was the hardest part for me. It's not getting the miles in, it's getting myself from off my couch through the door outside. I know I've finished the miles once I get myself outside, but sometimes until 11:59 p.m. when I'm hitting my tracker, finally starting, is the toughest thing to get myself outside. Still today, and that's
Mm.
okay. But do it. Do it when you don't feel like it. Do it when you do. Do it when you think you should just quit. Keep going. Because there's been, like you said, very rarely, man, like over these 4 years, I've wanted to quit so many times, and I
Mhm.
have quit on myself so many times. The
Mhm.
lucky thing I've realized is if I quit today and I get the miles done and I still quit today, that's okay. Because when I wake up tomorrow, about 24 to 48 hours, I'll feel like almost the exact opposite. I'll be lit on fire and ready to go. So just,
Mhm.
I can't quit. Like, even when I want to quit, I wait and go, like, give yourself 48 hours more. If you still want to quit, we can discuss it then.
That's good. I like that.
But keep going.
Yeah.
Again, like, find people around you. If it's a coach, if it's Tammy, if it's whoever, call up Tammy right now, message her, and make her start her coaching business. Make her get that book done because
There
you
you
reach
go.
out to her and go like, "Hey, I need this help," and only Tammy can help you.
Hmm.
And so I just want to encourage anybody, whatever you feel called, even if you have no idea how you're going to do it, that's okay.
Hmm.
Just trust,
Yeah.
believe, step forward, and know like it's given to you because you are the one that's meant to bring it to this world.
Mm. So good. It's so good, Chris. Thank you
Right.
so much. Those are some really good closing words. I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
So,
Tammy.
well, I want to thank everybody for getting on Hope today. We're on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible. Download, listen, give us some likes, give us some reviews. Chris's story is amazing. Chris, I'll put some of your social media links on here. That
Yeah.
way people can reach out and follow you and follow this amazing journey. What are you calling this?
So we call it. So I had a coach a couple years ago. We call it Chris Runs America because it's going to run right up to the election year. So we thought it'd be fun. Like, oh, he's going to run America, but is he going to run like the gut? Right? Is he going to run America or is he running
I
America?
gotcha.
So
Oh,
so we
awesome.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. So we'll put that on there too, that hashtag. So once again, Chris, thank you so much for jumping on here. I can't wait to chat with you again, and I hope that you have a blessed day.